I'm Leo Harris. I'm the chairman of the RoundTable. I'm 80 years old and I'm starting on my 5th dean, so I've been around the sciences. And I was to stand up here and talk about all the association the RoundTable has had with the dean. And certainly one of our crowning moments was when we got a resolution to have the dean's chair named in his honor that will go on. But as I sat back there and listened to all of these speakers, my conscience started bothering me. And when your conscience bothers you, you know you have been wrong, and it's going to bother you till you do right. And so I'm going to forget what I came up here to talk about, and instead I'm going to do what I have to do to clear my conscience and give an apology to Leonard. You see, with the experience of a number of deans, when he was named the Dean of Arts and Science, I told him, I told a lot of the associate deans, I told the staff, I told RoundTable members, it was an absolute shame to put a guy like him in as dean. I thought that was the worst mistake I had ever seen. Here was a brilliant scientist, a visionary. He was a guy who had the ability to lead the country to where it needs to go in the future. And what was he going to do? He was going to spend time on administrative and bureaucratic matters instead of using that brilliant mind. And I felt it was a terrible mistake. But as I watched the splitting of arts and sciences, and I watched how he tried to make sure that that was done on a fair basis. And there were a lot of accruals that had occurred to the old College of Arts and Science. And to take things like the endowment and split it in a fair and equitable way so that all stakeholders were pleased was very interesting to watch. And then with this new college, he still didn't go to solve the world's problems. He was named Dean of the new College of Science. And as I watched him there, he was bound and determined that he would lead this new college and try to set it up to be a leader in educating students, to be a leader in research, and to also start offering degrees in the professions of the future. And in doing this, you run into all kinds of problems that Dr. Sands has stated. You know, there are a lot of people that do not like change. And you also had a lot of politics of people who were not willing to go in a new direction from what they were used to. And as I watched this man handle that, I began to think, well, maybe they weren't too stupid after all, naming him as a dean. And then as it went on and we saw cluster hires and we saw interdisciplinary programs and we seen new approaches to how we teach students and how they live together. And all of those was changed. And all of them had a certain amount of controversy to them. And I guarantee all of you, if Leonard had all the arrows sticking out of him, he had stuck in him, he looked like a porcupine. But you know what? Those programs begin to turn into a success. And I watched an amazing thing happen. Everybody loves a winner. Everybody loves a winner. and everybody wants to be on a winning team. So a lot of those naysayers all of a sudden become parrots. And all of a sudden, it was amazing how many of them had been behind these programs since day one. It takes a real leader to convert to that degree. And you know, from my perspective, after all these years on the College of Science, it seems to me like Virginia Tech has been on a relay race, and we finished 3 of the runs so far. And we're now with the new administrative, new deans. We're starting on the 4th lap of that relay with new leaders. And from me watching what happened here, if we will continue with the programs and persevere and make sure we implement and continue to support things like the School of Neuroscience, then I am convinced in 10 years, MIT, Stanford, Harvard will be saying, we've got to go to Virginia Tech and look at the College of Science. They're having our lunch. And at that time, the College of Science will be king of them all. And a lot of the responsibility for why that would happen is because way back when, some bright people in the administration picked a brilliant guy to name dean. And Lenam, I apologize for not always thinking the same way.